I withdraw. You're not fired.
Wow. Mr. Speaker.
Order.
More like Mr. Squeaker. Oh, I got him there. Ah, yeah.
Order.
Absolutely. It's good collective responsibility if I've ever seen it.
Tom, why are you on the front bench? I thought you were a backbencher.
Look.
Who said that?
Tom, since when are you cabinet or opposition cabinet, shadow cabinet?
Order. I'm fine.
Needs us some lemon dip.
What did the standing orders say? If the speaker dies during a session, what happens?
Order.
Oh, no,
Order.
whoever asked why I'm on the front.
Order. Business secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I don't quite understand what the right honourable gentleman was trying to say. In terms of, I mean, I believe his first point was to do with, again, me being able to predict the collapse of the government. I'm not going to sit here and say to the House that the government didn't collapse. It has, Mr. Speaker.
Order.
I mean, Mr. Speaker, I'd be misinterpreting, misleading the House if I said any different. But, though, Mr. Speaker, again, I will continue. Well, I mean, you may, but Mr. Speaker, I will continue to do my job within the business department. I won't reveal what the plans were. I revealed part of the plans in the previous question in terms of re-merging the business department and the treasury, but I won't go into specific policy details. Well, I mean, you did. You asked me to tell you what the policy proposals were. So, like, I don't know what you're expecting. But I won't divulge into specific policy details just in case we do pick those policies back up in the very short amount of time we may have in government.
Leader of the opposition.
Mr. Speaker, in the words of Lizzo, it's about damn time you picked me. Thank you, Mr. Manface. Mr. Speaker, from what I've heard, all you've done is register a few news companies. What a trophy! What a trophy that is. But if he was gonna merge, I think he said something about merging his position with the Chancellery, which is a good idea. I would have had that done, but you know. Did he ever bring up anything to the PM saying, I don't know, man, my role's a bit irrelevant. I can't lie. Did you ever say something along those lines? Because if not, did you just take the position for the position's sake? Did you just take it for the nice little Secretary of State payout, you know?
Business secretary, point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The proposal was actually mine. I went to the Prime Minister and said to him that the department should be merged, even if that meant I lost my job, because fundamentally I didn't see the need myself for it to be separated. The Prime Minister agreed with me, and then later on in that day I was told that I was going to be moved to become Chancellor instead of the current Chancellor at the time, who was, I can't remember their name, but I'm sure you guys probably remember.
Yeah, she's one of my peer candidates.
Retirement for Harrogate.
I'm sorry, but a couple of sessions back, the business secretary stood at the dispatch box defending the creation of the Department for Business. Now, 2 days later, he's decided to completely contradict what he said a couple of sessions back. Does he really think that the Department for Business is irrelevant?
Mr. Speaker,
Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, again, I was a loyal cabinet minister. I served under the Prime Minister. I done what he told me to do as a loyal cabinet minister. Did I have personal beliefs that the business department was specifically needed, or whether it should be merged into the treasury? Sure, but I did what I believe all cabinet ministers should do: is voice their concerns in private. No, not at all, Mr. Speaker. Voice their concerns in private and fulfil their role to the public. Mr. Speaker, it's something maybe the Conservatives over there may learn, considering their last government, Mr. Speaker.
Whoa!
You've been in government for 3 days.
Where
Don't be
there was no cabinet unity, Mr. Speaker, and ultimately it was
Yes, it is.
the way that they worked with their coalition partners that brought down their government. So I think they should learn a
And then your
little
coalition partners
cabinet
was taking off.
responsibility.
Order.
A motion to move on.
No,
I
I
second.
got.
Order.
No.
Order. Look, my members are standing. Just a second.
Down.
Right. Urgent statement. Leader of the opposition.
Cheers, Mr. Speaker. Can someone play "I Vow to Thee, My Country" instrumental for me on their mic?
I love I Vow
And
to
I
Thee.
vow to.
No, like
oh, wait.
instrumental from like their YouTube. I need it to do this.
I first
Alright,
fell in
Alan,
love
Alan,
with that
Finding my
song.
phone.
Order.
Does anyone have their phone with them?
Order. The members of the
I vow to thee,
members
my
of the
country,
opposition.
instrumental.
Order. Resume your seat, leader of the opposition. Members of the
important.
opposition front bench are quite rowdy. I want to hear what the urgent statement is, so I suggest they shut up for just a bit. Right. Leader of the opposition.
You have it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd just like to pay tribute to the brave men and women who have restored our voice chat tonight. They're real heroes.
No.
If it wasn't for them, our debate would not be as lively.
Country.
Order, just a second. Shush, right. I want to hear what the leader of the opposition has to say. I believe members of this house
I
want to hear
wanted
it
the
as
music.
well.
I wanted the music.
I'd appreciate if members didn't play music, or I'll ask them
Mr.
to
Clerk.
withdraw for the remainder of tonight's sitting. Leader of the opposition.
Yeah, as I was saying, I really wanted the music with it, but if that's what the chair wants, the chair shall get. I'd like to pay tribute to the brave men and women who restored our voice chat tonight, Mr. Speaker. It's a vital part of our democracy, Mr. Speaker. An attack on our voice chat is an attack on Parliament, Mr. Speaker, and I will not accept it. And I'd like to pay tribute to whoever person was restored the voice chat. You're true heroes, and if I'm in government, you'll be sure to get a knighthood, even though I can't knight anyone.
Right. Okay, I believe the member for Harrogate had a point of order.
Thank you very much. Now, I believe, Mr. Speaker, that it is customary for spectators that are sat down to stay still and to shut up. So when the, I don't know, I think it's the Baron or there's something. There's a peer in there is a beer in here. A peer in here. Okay, Crimson Law has decided to have. Oh, well, look, he's speaking there. He needs to actually be quiet and he needs to stay still. And I seek your advice.
Yeah, okay. I'll encourage the spectator to shush. Okay, thank you. Right, we now come to a debate on an early general election. So the leader of the opposition.
Mr. Speaker, my favourite singer-songwriter Lizzo once said, Mr. Speaker, it's about damn time, Mr. Speaker. And I love that phrase right now because it fits into so many different categories. And this is one of them, Mr. Speaker. What do you mean, sigh? That was a good pun. Anyway, Mr. Speaker, it is time for a general election, Mr. Speaker. I hate hung parliaments. I hate them with all my heart. I hate every single one of them, Mr. Speaker. In BUK, nothing was ever done because the hung I know I used it already. I like recycling things. I'm an environmentally friendly party leader. But anyway, we need a general election in order to break the deadlock. Hopefully, it's not another hung parliament, otherwise it'll all be for nothing. But if this government really wants to govern in order for the new map to come out, which I was privileged to look at. Well, I didn't look at the map, but I look at the road map. See what I did there for it. If we want a stable government, as you know, the admins need a stable government in order to get everything going, get all the rules in place and all that. If we keep chopping and changing prime ministers, then it's never going to work. And that's why we do need a general election. It is vital in order for a stable government. And now, Mr. Speaker, I don't want to blow my own horn here, Mr. Speaker, but when I was Prime Minister, I was quite a strong and stable one, if I do say so myself. I wasn't mocked. I resigned out of my own choice because I got bored.
And
So
stable.
that's one for the
Order.
trophy cabinet. But I think this Conservative government, with its long experience in government, with my long experience serving with Mr. Mega Miner himself, I believe we can steer this country to new heights. I brought back the old guard, Mr. Speaker. I brought back the old guard because they know what they're doing. There's no risks like this current government. They were risky because they were inexperienced. This Conservative Party is experienced, and we're ready to get on with the job, and we're ready for this election.
A member of Parliament for Northamptonshire.
Mr. Speaker, we're ready for our 4th
Order.
election loss in a row.
That was so good.
Order.
Tides of politics have turned, really.
Order.
Yes, the mighty 10
Order.
member server strikes again.
Order.
Labour's going to lose seats.
I think that's possible.
Order.
Like when Little Dragon bragged about 100% attendance, even though they had 2 seats.
Order. Alright. Order. Resume your seat.
Yeah,
member
4
for
seats and they can't even get 100%
Northamptonshire.
attendance.
Order. Order. Although he's not speaking, I'd still like to, in a way, hear what he has to say. So I appreciate if members weren't speaking from a sedentary position, maybe wait until the honourable gentleman has finished. Member for Northamptonshire.
For that little ego dig there.
Mm.
A member of Parliament for Crawley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think it's quite obvious. On the government benches, you have a divided cabinet. You've got the business secretary saying he wants to form a new government, and then you've got the culture secretary agreeing with my right honourable friend, the leader of the opposition, that we should call it an early general election. How can we have a government, or how can we have anyone in cabinet form this government and progress on when 2 of its own people are divided on if we should have a general election or not? There's currently 3 people on that bench. The culture secretary agreed with my right honourable friend before about the election, and you're going on about forming a new government. It's pathetic. You've got half of the government isn't here. Sit down, I'm talking. You've got half the government who's left. You've got 13 Conservatives in this House in the minute, including you, Mr. Speaker, compared to 3. You have no one. The coalition party that you formed with attacked you, and they all left, and then they criticised you. You have no support. The people that went in government with you don't support you. You haven't got the support of this House because you lost yesterday. I think if this election occurs, because like my right honourable friend said before, we're very, very close to V2, and credits to the former Conservative government because we put plans in place for V2. I know the Department for Transport did because, we set them in place. There's plans in place. You've got no plans. You've not released anything. You've got nothing for V2. You're just expecting it to come up, go in game and live, laugh, love. That's not how this works. There's no preparation. There's no government. There's no party that's eligible on that bench to run this government, Mr. Speaker.
Business Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have to say, I did think I think the shadow DCMS secretary used to be the famous waffler in the Conservative Party, but I see I see the member is now the new one in the Conservative Party. Mr. Speaker, there is no disagreement between me and the DCMS. If the member decided to actually read my statement, he would see that I have the intention of forming a government and then calling a general election, which is what the DCMS agreed with. So I have to say that I do ask the member if he really does know what he's actually talking about.
Member of Parliament for Harrogate.
Thank you very much. Now, I would just like to quickly thank the Labour MP for his kind words, and I'd also like to agree with him. It is time for the public to speak out, and it is time for them to say once again that they don't want a Labour government. So it'll be the fourth or fifth time in a row, Mr. Speaker. Now, it's obvious, and you know I hate to steal the joke, but I actually do have from a modern day philosopher, popular artist Lizzo
Don't you
once
dare
said,
steal my joke. You're
"Turn
so
up the music."
Get out.
She once said,
Get
"Turn
out.
up the
You're sacked.
music, turn down the lights," and I will make sure that that will be happening because we will be celebrating another general election victory with another whopping majority in a couple of weeks' time, Mr. Speaker.
Shadow DCMS Secretary.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Go on.
Order. Resume your seat, Shadow DCMS Secretary. Well, I don't think it's very courteous of the Business Secretary to sigh whilst members are speaking. And again, people continue to speak from sedentary positions. I'd encourage members not to. I'll be issuing warnings if it continues and then withdraws. Right, Shadow DCMS. Order.
The only thing that's collapsing is this speech.
Order. Encourage the
Not
Shadow
collapsing as much
the
as your
Shadow
career.
Order. Right. Okay. Right. Order. Just resume your seat, Shadow DCMS Secretary, for a second. I'd encourage you to keep the debate on topic of the early general election. I don't know why you were talking about spiders. Also, yeah, order. I'm finished yet. Also, members of the officers in front bench continue to speak from a sedentary position. I do recommend they stop before I issue first formal warning. Right. Okay. Shadow DCMS. Right. Member of Parliament for Harrogate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. We are ready for a general election. The people are ready for a general election. Hopefully, the Whigs are ready for a general election. I'm hoping that they've got a cabinet list prepared that says shadow secretary. Mr. Speaker.
Order.
We don't have a waffle machine on the government front benches, do we? Speaking while I'm on the dispatch box, Mr. Speaker. We are ready. You know, we've proven that policy under. We've gotten. We've proven that under the strong and stable leadership of Albert P. Grantham, I withdraw the name, we have been able to produce policy that's been pragmatic, that has been beneficial to all. We have seen that we've had the most experienced and the most productive governments. We've had the most productive debates. We've had the most productive, Downing Street events. We've had the most productive games because we were able to innovate the community. The best out of every government, and I've been three of the four most recent governments, and those three out of the four most recent governments have been the most successful governments to date, Mr. Speaker. That is why we're ready to tackle the general election. That's why we are ready to claim the prize of a whopping 21-seat majority, like the good old times, Mr. Speaker.
Government opposition chief whip.
Whoop.
Order.
Yeah.
Order.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, is that? Okay, Member of Parliament for Harrogate.
Mr. Speaker, I'd just like to reiterate what the shadow government chief, the shadow chief whip said, and I would like to also quote another American philosopher, singer-songwriter Lionel Richie. My arms are open wide, Mr. Speaker, to another Conservative government that is ready to tackle the problems at hand with a crippled political scene and an even more crippled community, Mr. Speaker.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Oh, we've got another
Okay,
thing.
Shadow Order.
No.
Shadow DTMS Secretary. No. Order.
Don't get your hopes up.
Resume. Thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Don't get your hopes up. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just had to briefly interrupt because on the topic of a general election, Mr. Speaker, I've learned it's a great regret. The independent MP for Leicestershire is not running. I don't think. I might be wrong in that, but I'm very upset by this news. He was a great man, a great colleague. I remember when I backed him. I supported his campaign for independent MP because I thought he was quite the sexy candidate indeed. Because I thought we need a bit more scrutiny in the House. We've had a little squabble in the House before, but no, he's a fine guy, and I wish him all the best with plans. Even though ITV is miles clear, but yeah, maybe now he has a bit more time to work on plans, Corp, and I wish him the best. Okay, you can carry on.
Yeah, just order a second. Just maybe some helpful advice to the Shadow DCMS Secretary. Might want to speak a bit more clearly when he approaches the dispatch box. Business Secretary, if you had things to say.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the point that the DCMS, Shadow DCMS Secretary is making, in terms of what I previously said, no, I didn't blame the civil servants. I believe in my first session in this House as Business Secretary, I stated it was a Conservative government who controlled the Companies House that had allowed it to go into disrepair, where we had companies waiting weeks to get approval. I was able to rectify that when I entered the department. Indeed, I had business owners message me personally with matters of thanks, and I'm very proud of the way Companies House is now working and proceeding. And I hope to bring that experience to the whole of government, should I be able to form one. And onto the point that opposition members are making in terms of general election, we will be calling a general election, Mr. Speaker. And opposition members seem to be suggesting that that it's weird for me to ask to form a government. Well, how else are we going to get a general election? I mean, I do wish sometimes members. I do sometimes wish members on the opposition benches would sometimes think before they speak, Mr. Speaker, because I think it does a discredit to their intelligence.
Point of order, member for Harrogate, if he's still got it, or has he withdrawn it? He's still got it. Point of order, then, member for Harrogate.
If the opposition would like to speak before my point of order, then I'm
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, leader of the opposition in that case, then.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the topic of general elections, during this session, I've had time to reflect on row politics and general elections in general, Mr. Speaker, and I've come to the conclusion that you don't make them like you used to, Mr. Speaker. When I was in BUK, election season was like the biggest hype of my life, of my little virgin life, Mr. Speaker. I always enjoyed a good general election every 3 months, but now I kind of feel like because of the constant political. I'll get to the point.
A second, just like to remind the member, this is being broadcast on ITV, so I don't know if you want to refer to his former life as Virgin, but anyway, that's up to him, right? Leader.
I don't think it was his former life, Mr.
Okay, order, right.
But anyway, Mr. Speaker, election season used to be an exciting time for us row politicians, where we find out if our 3 months of hard work was worth it or not. And normally it was, because I was part of the Conservative Party and we always won. When we didn't win, we were really depressed. Now I look in these benches and I always think just this new generation of politicians, you don't understand the hype you used to get about elections because there's so many prime ministers and there's so many elections. Everyone just comes and goes, and it's not the same anymore. But even though we've just called another election, Mr. Speaker, so I'm really not helping the problem. I would just like to point that out, and I'd like everyone to reflect if you were a part of road politics for a long time, which I think is only just me and like Archie, and yeah, I think that's about it. And I think everyone else is like came in like 2021. But yeah, well, I don't even know if Archie was around. I think it's just me here. But yeah, it used to be so exciting. Now it's not. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. It's just my little like mini little rant about it. Back. Well, this is technically on topic, but yeah.
So, yeah, okay, we'll go to the business secretary then.
Point of order,
Oh yeah, sorry. Resume your seat, business secretary. Yeah, point of order, member.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The business secretary before the opposition statement said that it was a Conservative government that they said, I think, really they used the word governed the Companies House. However, that is incorrect, Mr. Speaker. And I believe that the business secretary has inadvertently misled that house because government cannot govern the Companies House. It is decided by a civil servant, of which they are politically impartial. The civil servant being the chief executive / chief registrar. Mr. Speaker, we only oversee the Companies House, and we only put policies and directives in when necessary. The majority of the time, it tends to be the strong and stable leadership in the Companies House. No, it's not. In the Company House executive.
Yeah, order. Okay, yeah, thank you, member for Harrogate. Maybe the business secretary would like to correct his previous statement. Give him a chance to do this now, business secretary.
Mr. Speaker, Business House is governed under the government. It is part
Business House, does it?
It is
part. Resume your seat. No, I think the member for Harrogate's quite right. The Companies House is overseen by the Chancellor, but it's actually controlled by the Chief Executive. So again, I'll ask you to.
But it's part of government. It is a function of government, and therefore, the government does govern it. I mean, I don't understand how that's like not of. I don't understand how that's in contention.
Okay, well, I'm not.
Come on,
well,
talk about
I think we move on to just an adjournment. The members want to vote. There is a motion put in the motions channel for minimum notice for order paper contents. Do we vote?
That's already been done.
Oh, it's been done. Okay, then, yeah. So
adjourn.
Yeah,
I've
okay,
got
then.
Love Island to watch, guys.
Oh,
Look, I thought that
that's
finished,
not.
right. The question is that this honourable house now does adjourn, as many of that opinion say.
Aye.
Aye.
Get it? Do you get it, Albert? Because it was like what you used to do.
Yeah, I
Aye.
do get it. Fine.
No. Yeah, okay, division, clear the lobbies, go on,
Oh
guys.
wow, Jesus Christ.
There's
Voting
one
on it
person.
when we could just adjourn anyway if someone's wishing to
maybe.
leave.
One person.
Oh, don't close the door. I don't have any clerks, so I'm just going to eyeball.
I would see it was quite similar, Albert, don't you think?
Yeah, Tom, it seems like you're really just copying me today. Like you're doing my jokes and you're also wearing the same outfit as me.
I changed hair because I
If
didn't
you're a
like the
fan, I'll
slip.
give you an
Okay.
autograph if you want.
Right.
I'll give you an autograph.
Everyone can come back in, yeah, come on, unlock.
Well, you can give me your autograph when you do my appointment statement.
Yeah, one person voted no.
One person. Right, okay, well, that's not right. Okay, so
When you do your resignation, you do resignation honours, Albert.
Oh, I hate resignation honours because every time MRT is like, no, you can't appoint him. You can't appoint him.
Right, yeah.
No, I don't.
And then
Okay,
Jonathan
might
Van
need to
Dra
appoint
goes,
you
"That's
to
outrageous."
tax savers
I
after
didn't get a
division.
medal. Yeah.
Order.
So
We are still in
couldn't claim
session,
that
right.
to me either.
Order. This honourable house will now stand adjourned until the 22nd of September, yes.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we know how the days work, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, I know, but people get right
Yeah.
me. Well done. Adjourned, guys.
Talking
Yeah,
about
well
you,
done.
Aguero.
Cheers, ITV, for doing this amazing stream. And
Bye.
That was extreme.
He's just gone.
What? Am I meant to have a fault? What do you mean? He's all right. Like, oh, okay, fair enough.
Sketch, I must admit, like, you're